Okay, so here's my audience. Here is my student ID. Here is my note card. And let's begin. Okay, so if I were to ask most of you what you know about gerrymandering and how it impacts our congressional districts, I'm sure the answer would be, little to nothing. The thing is, gerrymandering impacts our political process to a very high degree, and therefore it impacts our lives. To give you guys some background, the United States is a democratic republic in which we elect representatives to represent our interests in Washington. For the United States Congress, we elect representatives based off what districts we're in. Districts are supposed to be drawn off of things like polling data and census data to accurately draw our districts. However, this has not been the case. Today, I'm going to tell you guys about what gerrymandering is, why gerrymandering is done, how it is done, and how it impacts our political system. So let's begin. So what is gerrymandering? According to Merriam-Webster, gerrymandering is when politicians engage in redrawing congressional district maps for partisan gain. They do this by redrawing the districts to cluster their opponents and spread out their districts to make sure that they get as many districts as possible while limiting their opponents' districts to as few as possible. Like I said earlier, districts are normally supposed to be drawn through census data, but instead this is done purely for partisan gain. The definition I gave, I understand, can be kind of complex, so I provided some visual aids to show you guys what a gerrymandered state would look like. So here's an example of a properly drawn map. This is the map of Wisconsin. There are 8 districts. Each of the districts are obviously drawn very proportionately. You can see that it's based off population. Nothing here seems out of whack. Everything seems to be based off the population data. Now here's an example of a gerrymandered map. This is North Carolina's Republican-drawn map from 2012 and 2014. As you can see, these districts are clearly not properly drawn. This one right here, district number 12, looks more like a river than like a district. Clearly this cannot be representative of any type of population density or anything like that, and it gave Republicans a 10-3 control over the state. And just to give another example of what a gerrymandered district would look like, this one is called Goofy Kicking Donald Duck. This is Goofy, this is Donald Duck, and clearly this is just not at all based off population. This is clearly done for partisan gain. So how does gerrymandering come about? Gerrymandering is not done by accident. It's done with purpose, reason, and it's actually very technical. In Washington, many politicians call it a skill to be able to gerrymander. In fact, Professor Dick Howard of the University of Virginia said that politicians use precise polling data as well as the highest level of technology available to them to draw these districts as extremely as possible to benefit them for partisan gain. And gerrymandering also isn't something that is done in secret either. Politicians are very open and very public about their attempts to gerrymander. I'll provide an example right here of a Republican congressman talking about how he planned to draw his map in 2016.
We want to make clear that we, to the extent, are going to use political data in drawing this map, it is to gain partisan advantage on the map. I want that criteria to be clearly stated and understood.
So clearly politicians aren't hiding the fact that they're engaging in this type of gerrymandering. So what are the impacts of gerrymandering? The first impact is, like I said, partisan politics. Republicans that control a state try to gerrymander their maps to ensure that they remain over control. Democrats do the same. It also leads to even infighting within political parties. For example, in 2001, there was a man named Hakeem Jeffries, who was a Democrat, who ran against another Democrat for Congress in New York. The Democrats in control gerrymandered the map and changed it so that the people that lived within his own neighborhood were moved out of his district, thus leading to him losing that race. And the most important problem that comes with gerrymandering is misrepresentation. An example of this would be in 2014. In the 2014 elections, Pennsylvania had 44% of the people vote Democrat, yet they received only 5 out of the 18 seats, or 28% of the seats. So clearly, this is leading to a large portion of misrepresentation in Congress. So in conclusion, I want to make it clear first and foremost that gerrymandering is a bipartisan issue. Both political parties engage in gerrymandering. It's a problem that both of them do this. Gerrymandering is a huge issue because Congress is one of our most important bodies of government. Congress has the ability to declare war, approve budgets, or even impeach a president. And it's important that the people who are in Congress are accurately representing the people who are voting them in. In conclusion, I hope that you guys have gotten a firm understanding of what gerrymandering is, why it's so important, and how it impacts all of us. And hopefully in the upcoming election, you can take a look at your district and see if it's been gerrymandered or if it properly represents you. Thank you.